My ex is a pedo. I was in an extremely toxic relationship in my early 20s for a little over 3 years. I remember when my ex first messaged me online, I told him I had never had a boyfriend before and was quite inexperienced, to which he replied that he would be honored to have the chance to be my first. I now realize he had a thing for inexperienced girls. I was completely love-bombed in the beginning. I often said to myself, this feels too good to be true. I was showered with gifts and affection. I experienced all of the hallmark signs of love bombing, except I was too naive to recognize it. I was made to feel like I was the most important person in the world. He said he was in love with me after dating for 3 weeks. He said he had never felt this way about anyone before, and I believed him. He also had a very high intimacy drive and pressured me to move very quickly intimately. When we would be intimate, which was often rope, he would ask to look at old pictures of me when I was a kid so he could cross the finish line. This was obviously a major red flag, but I was too naive to notice. Over time he became extremely emotionally volatile and would constantly ask me for reassurance. I found myself walking on eggshells, unsure of what might trigger a depressive episode. I became extremely depressed and anxious myself and would have panic attacks almost every day. The first incident involved me finding random Facebook pictures of teenage girls on his iPad. I was confused and he explained that this iPad was years old and these pictures were from when he was that age and wanted to jack it. The second incident was when I was using his laptop for something and came across a hidden folder called JB. Inside there were random pictures of teen girls again. I was confused and disgusted. I impulsively deleted everything off his computer. When I confronted him about it, he confessed that he was into something called jailbait and that these were pictures of girls he would jack it to. I was horrified, but at the same time, nothing he had done was illegal because they were all clothed pictures that were not adult films in nature. To anyone who at this point is saying I should have called the police, I spoke to a police officer at the time and there was nothing that could be done about it since they were pictures from Facebook. He was hysterical and begging me not to leave him. He said I now knew his secret and threatened to end himself if I told anyone or if I left him because of this. He promised he would get help and he would never look at JB again. He eventually broke up with and discarded me on my birthday after I found him looking up teenage girls on Instagram and confronted him. He claims he broke up with me because he fell out of love with me. Over the years, I've come to realize the reason he broke it off was because keeping me around meant he had to confront his problems. He wanted his secret back. He didn't want me around to make him feel guilty. 1 month after he broke up with me, he quickly moved on to date a girl who was 15. He was living out his sick fantasy. After they eventually broke up after 1 year, she messaged me on Facebook apologizing for ever believing the horrible things he said about me. She said she was an inexperienced V-card owner and he took advantage of that. She told me that he would often keep tabs on my social media profiles and would complain about how happy I looked. It was as if he copied and pasted the experience that I had and did the same with her. I also found out that he was diagnosed with borderline and antisocial personality disorder. He went through with suicide shortly after.